Godzilla vs. Kong is the next installment in the MonsterVerse, and this movie did absolutely nothing for me. I went in knowing that it was gonna be pretty bad. I mean, it's clear that the movie was going for some Oscar award in VFX because goddamn this movie looks amazing. There isn't a single shot where you can see any discrepancies in any of the CGI monsters, but this isn't what I care about. It's always my goal to see past the fancy special effects and look at any undertones that the writers write into the script to show some kind of purpose, either to show the importance of some theme such as love, or perhaps something more political such as female rights, because at the end of the day a CGI monster is just a CGI monster, unless that CGI monster becomes some metaphorical representation of something to the characters. Because that's not the case, Godzilla vs. Kong is just another forgettable movie. In the beginning, we are introduced to Bernie, who runs a monster podcast anonymously. He's a janitor and acts as the comedic relief throughout the whole movie.
Clearance tag.
You know what? The fact that you're talking about clearance tags right now in a time of crisis is incredibly unprofessional. We should be talking about it back.
The place he was working at gets destroyed by Godzilla because of a big bullshit superpower to sense this big round ball, which Apex is using to build a big CGI robot Godzilla. To power this big round ball, Apex needs to go to the Earth's core to find some bullshit energy power to power this bullshit robot. Bullshit aside, let's go with it, because this is probably the best part of the movie.
We can harness this life force. We'll have a weapon that can compete with Godzilla.
Nathan is the first character who is super important to this mission to go to the Earth's core. He says he lost his brother when he was going to the Earth's core.
They were crushed in an instant.
I'm sorry about your brother.
Unfortunately, he's the only one with sufficient knowledge to take the worldwide conglomerate trillion-dollar company to the Earth's core, which they have already found a way to. Okay, because he lost his brother, surely he is reluctant to go to the Earth's core after encountering a tragedy like this, right?
Hollow Earth aerial vehicle. If we need you to lead the mission.
Well, I might have an idea.
Okay, giving Iron Man a cool car isn't actually that cool, because to create a winning hero, the single most important element in drawing us into the story is to make us like our hero. However, there is nothing to make us feel connected to this character. Madison has been following the janitor Bernie's podcast, and because she believes with what Bernie is saying about how Godzilla's attack on Apex was not a coincidence, and Godzilla actually has a clear motive, Madison tells her dad, and her dad doesn't believe her, and so Madison blindly stumbles around to find Bernie. Madison and Bernie stumble around a little more and just happen to get in the middle of the action.
Oh my god.
Millie Bobby Brown is sure for a victory after this movie, right? I mean, child actors are often a hit or miss. They really chose a fantastic actress to play the role of a stumbling child who does absolutely nothing for the plot.
Sherlock Holmes. Famous detective, scholar, chemist. Well, I have a hat. Just makes my head itch. And I have no gloves.
Her father works for the same big conglomerate company who deals with the big monsters, and that's pretty much all she's good for. They seem to make this pretty clear in the movie. It's almost like they don't care about developing her character just a little more and give her somewhat of a story arc.
Where do I know you from? Oh my goodness. Director Russell's daughter.
Can you hear me? I'm in Hong Kong! Dad!
It's like they took a growing child star, tossed her into the movie to be a stumbling, helpless fool, only to promote the movie as starring Millie Bobby Brown, a fantastic actress who played an amazing role in Stranger Things, shaved her head all to play the role of a hero that we can all feel for. Oh yeah, but in this movie, she has no arc, she gets pushed around, and just happens to be in places just because she's there. Don't even get me started on New Zealand boy. Josh is Madison's friend who just sticks around for no reason whatsoever.
Obviously, I'm coming.
He is given no motive to do anything and just follows Madison around aimlessly. He adds lines of dialogue that are completely useless to the blank two-dimensional character and is an exact mirror of Millie Bobby Brown's character, but from New Zealand.
Down a rabbit hole.
He consumes a ton of bleach.
Excuse me, what is tear?
Water. They put fluoride in it. Learned it from the Nazis.
Sub-level. How deep does this thing go, Bernie?
Right? Because I know that there was something.
I get a migraine from that torch.
We don't know who he is, so as writers, the job is to make him represent something bigger and make his character have an arc. Because after he pours some alcohol on some expensive conglomerate tech, well, that's all he does. We don't ever see from him again. It's the equivalent of watching carpet get manufactured.
You see the pattern in the product here, so this has got a cut and a loop in it. These two product being substituted.
Take this for instance. Eleven from Stranger Things and Russell from Deadpool 2 want to look for Bernie just because they feel like it.
Knock it off!
11 from Stranger Things and Russell from Deadpool 2 just happened to find Bernie because they found his bleach cellar.
Okay, look, you kids want some candy because I can help you with candy.
Look at me in the eye. Okay, I need information.
Yeah, we want lots of candy.
11 just happens to find some magic elevator which happens to take them to sub-level 33.
Hey guys!
Bernie walks into some maglev train and 11 from Stranger Things and Russell from Deadpool 2 just happen to be around, so they go inside. The train just happens to start and takes them to Hong Kong for some reason. They just happen to be spit out where Apex was testing robot Godzilla. They hide in a compartment that just happened to be there as big CGI monster attacks them. They just happen to walk into a control panel for robot Godzilla, and they just happen to find out exactly what's going on with the big conglomerate.
Hey guys, hey, it's soundproof, so I can't really. I want to communicate. Open the door. Say again. Oh God!
They get arrested and they get pushed around, and after a little while, they just happen to be in the exact place where they needed to be. These three characters instead are what is called in writing passive characters, which in a huge blockbuster like this full of big CGI monsters can make the movie feel extremely boring. To be a memorable character, believe it or not, the character needs to be actually entertaining. The best way to do this is by making your protagonist active. They're always doing something that progresses the plot. They push the story in a certain direction and make things actually happen. Even the animals from Pet's life do something. For example, in Rain Man, Tom Cruise will do all the changes to the story while Dustin Hoffman will do no change to the story, and it boils down to whose story it is. These three, on the other hand, are passive. They get pushed by the story. Things happen around them that push them into the situation around them. In other words, passive characters generally don't do anything. This is why Max in the beginning of Fury Road is incredibly boring, and so we focus on our other protagonist. However, 20 minutes into the movie, Max gets to escape his confines and starts to become an intriguing character. But in Godzilla, it's like these three are in a perpetual state of imprisonment and are ragdolls that just flop around aimlessly.
Tap or no tap?
No tap.
Excuse me, what is tear?
Water. They put fluoride in it. Learned it from the Nazis.
And for the whole fucking movie. Imagine we take out these three characters and nothing in the plot would change. Kong would still end up fighting Godzilla and bad conglomerate guy will still do bad conglomerate guy things. Even in the parts where you think that Russell from Deadpool 2 is actually being active by pouring the drink on the tech, he is being more reactive rather than active. He has to do something because he has failed at everything else. This is not his active choice, but because he is forced to act. Even Nathan, for the matter, his character doesn't change, and going to the Earth's core is not a euphoric moment for him to get over the loss of his brother, but simply because he goes to the Earth's core to go to the Earth's core?
Josh, you have to do something!
Drink. Well, drink. Hey, what are you? That's your solution? I gotta die here with you and sober!
This is what makes Andrews, the kid, and Kong the best parts of the movie, because without them, the plot wouldn't exist.
Oh, yeah!
I'm gonna give a very simple fix to these three characters. So imagine this. Madison and Josh both have internalized struggles, and they are not just kids who are stupid and aimless, and they have a connection with each other by listening to Bernie's podcast for some time. Madison's father works for this huge conglomerate Apex that deals with monster life. Unfortunately, Madison's father's position in the company has caused him to become more and more distant with his family, and to get closer with her father, she wants to learn even more about the insides of her father's work. So she found Bernie's podcast, noted down all the interesting information, and constantly wants to share the information with her father to grow closer with him and his work. Unfortunately, her father still pushes her ludicrous ideas away to focus on his job. Josh's father is an alcoholic who constantly disregards anything that Josh says. Josh has a great interest in these monsters since birth, just like Madison, and because his father is an alcoholic, Josh has this void in his heart and listens to Bernie's podcast and treats Bernie as something like a father figure. Josh and Bernie have the same great humor, and this is what made him love Bernie. Now, instead of aimlessly looking for this guy Bernie just because they want to look for this guy Bernie, their own character flaws and internal struggles push them and motivate them to find Bernie. During a diner scene, Madison and Josh find out that Bernie also drinks alcohol and lost his wife. Instead, this isn't something to add depth to the character, nor is it explored later in the film. It's just a running gag that he carries a symbol of his wife around as a flask of alcohol.
Sure we can trust this guy?
Yeah, why? Well, mainly because he says crazy shit all the time and carries a bottle of whiskey from his dead wife like a gun.
Imagine this. Bernie lost his wife due to Apex, somehow causing her death because she was given the wrong instructions, or perhaps she was lost due to one of the monsters. Either way, make the loss of his wife one of Bernie's implicit motivations to take down the inner workings of Apex, not just because he wants to for some reason. And now, because Josh's father is an alcoholic and he sees Bernie as someone he looks up to, he comes to terms that people have struggled and use alcohol to cope. Bernie isn't a bad guy, just like his father, and in the end, he pours the alcohol on the tech, which is symbolic of Bernie letting go of his lost wife, but also Josh letting go of his neglect for his father's alcoholism. It also takes down Apex's biggest asset in the progress. This shows plot and character just by adding a few more scenes, and holy shit, this took 5 minutes to come up with. This is Kong's movie after all. He is humanized and it shows that he is capable of compassion. His character is amazing and it parallels that of the little girl. It makes us embrace that ideology that involves viewing others as less than full human beings will lead to systematic mistreatment, often leading to killing and unethical enslavement. In the scenes when Kong is about to die, it is that personalization of Kong as a friend and a protector that leads to sentiment with an otherwise hugely sickly, destruction-drawn creature. It is the relationship between the girl and Kong that shows emotion, that Kong is able to feel, and a justification that we should build a relationship with him, or maybe even our illusion into sentiment, because at the end of the day, these are monsters. It is also the idea of whether or not replication of animalistic behaviors in humans is ethical or not, as people want to hurt these creatures by creating big robots. It makes us think that law is what controls these justifications, but then should we be able to hurt these creatures for our own survival just like animals if these creatures parallel the character of a little girl? I wanted to see the writers explore this more instead of a CGI monster that represents absolutely nothing. It's the idea of when I get cut, I feel pain, and since we are both human, I shall not cut him. In the presence of intelligent, monstrous beings that we lack understanding of to make such judgment, and that would be great to explore. It's too bad our entertainment is being gradually eroded by shitty writing that they shit out of their ass. And with 11 from Stranger Things, I hope your pillow is cold on both sides tonight. And bye-bye.